Hey, welcome to my channel.
My name is Jessica Miller. I live just outside of Nashville, Tennessee with my husband of 16 years, Gary, and our border collie, Percy. Here on this channel, I'll take you into our home and into my simple yet fun-filled life. You can find me here at the house or yard bringing motivation to the mundane, or out and about vlogging whatever happens to be going on in my life at the time. If you're into that sort of thing, I'd be so grateful if you'd consider subscribing below, and we can do this together. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Here in Middle Tennessee, I feel like we've had one of the rainiest summers that I can remember ever having. I don't think I've had to water any of the new plants that I planted this year one time since the end of May. All I can remember last summer was religiously watering everything I'd just planted in the morning and the night, just about every day. I would get the front and then the back, and I would even have like a schedule where I watered all the plants and I would name them so I remembered what I watered. And I think I shared it on YouTube last year, all the different names of the plants. But like I said, this year I just have completely ignored it, and the rain has just taken over. If you remember the last video I posted back in July, these guys were working down here on fixing up this entire driveway area. They pulled out the fence where there used to be a small horse pasture, and they also put down new gravel and rolled it. So our buddy Alejandro, who used to board his horses here, and his boys, and a couple of his friends and brother, they all poured the gravel down here, cleaned it up, and it looks amazing. Meanwhile, I was up at the shed after the 2020-2021 kitchen construction and just completely pretty much ignoring the shed music room for what seems to be like 3 years, pretty much since 2020. We've been focused on so many other things, and this has definitely, obviously not been a focus in our lives for the last 3 years. So now is the time, and I'm very overwhelmed with it, but you know what? One baby step at a time. Fishing tackle stuff, and what I'd really like is for Gary to have like his own space to put all this fishing rods and everything and golf stuff here, because it takes up so much room. And I don't want his fishing rods to get ruined by being in here, because things just get tossed around in here and it's just a disaster. A lot of this is left over from our kitchen addition that we did in 2020 and 2021. Still, yeah. And just so much stuff that needs to be gone through and cleaned up. This is a whole entire box of just leftover kitchen addition stuff. And you just don't know what to do with all this, and it's just box after box after box. So I also tried to make use of the ledge over here for liquids and stuff like that. And we have a ton of these. You know, this is stuff that just takes up space. I don't know. Cut off wheel abrasives. Okay. So it's just stuff that's here, but we don't really use it on a week-to-week basis. Like light bulbs we will need. That's something that we'll need in here regularly. Now, there's a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, we have just so many of these. And just heavy duty stuff. We don't use this ever. There's tons of extension cords, which we will need that. And it's just like there's never a place to really walk in here. Somehow we always fill up the floor. And then we can't even get to the shelves. So everything just needs some order. Since these golf clubs are not used very often at all, I am going to wrap them with this tarp and carry them to the barn storage. We have a small storage upstairs in the barn that I'm going to go ahead and put these in. And it gets very dirty. That's why I'm wrapping them up. Baby, tell me why your phone's off lately. I don't want to go all crazy, but I think I'm losing it. Tell me where your heart is these days. Are you being honest with me? I don't want to go this cray-cray, but I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. Who does this with their golf clubs? That is so funny. Who wraps them? I guess I'm the only one who does this with their golf clubs, but you know what? We have a barn and I don't want them to get dirty. So, when you use them once or twice a year, just trying to preserve them. You said you and I were meant to be last week. You could be running. When I've neglected something like this for this long, I just do this stand back and stare kind of freeze up thing where I'm just going, how can I organize this to work best for our lifestyle here? Like, what should I do with each thing? And I'll just stand back and look at it as I go. The starting is the hardest part, and this is definitely the beginning. These days, are you being honest with me? I don't want to go this cray-cray, but I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. We're in the equipment renting business now, but in the past, my husband was in the tool salesman field, and there are so many awkward, customer samples and things that are I just don't know what to do with it all because I know we don't use it. Baby, tell me why your phone's off lately. I don't want to go all crazy, but I think I'm losing it. Tell me where your heart is these days. Are you being honest with me? I don't want to go this cray-cray, but I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. Another thing that I just was not going to do today was pull everything out, put it in the yard, and then organize from there because I know a lot of people do that. But I feel like for me, everything needed to really be focus organized. And if I pulled everything out in the yard, I just feel like that I would just be putting it back neatly the same way that I pulled it out. So this time I'm really trying to look at the way that we utilize this shed and go, okay, so what always ends up on the floor, and really try to think through this whole organizing thing and actually get rid of things that we really need to get rid of. just trying to make room to walk through and put all my decor up there on the shelves. So we don't have an attic, we don't have a basement, and our garage is really like a music room / storage, and there's a little bedroom in the back / storage. So there's pretty much storage kind of scattered everywhere, and everything's just / storage except for this. This shed is designated only for storage, but it's outside, and I want this shed to be used for things we use outside. So somehow over the years, I've ended up using it for like memories, and there's boxes in here that should be inside. So I'm going to go ahead and move those to the music room and organize that again. This is, the paint we use once a year, if that. So, because this shelf needs to be stuff I use once a week. One of the things I really found beneficial was just these quick labels, because I'm not sure exactly how much of something I have, how much of the box it's going to take up. So I like to do temporary labels before I really know what fits in a box appropriately. Anything that's a box like this, I'm just going to take it and then label it or throw away whatever's inside if we haven't used it in years. Got this labeled. I'm just doing what I can with what I have. Okay, so this right here is a box with no label. Now the most important thing is to go, oh wow, that's an extra large tarp. So now on the outside of the box, I'm just gonna put one of my labels and label it. When I get into a big organizing project like this, I feel like I need as much moral support as I can get. So I'll just listen to YouTube. Clutterbug was my absolute favorite. She's very realistic, and she even says something in one of her videos about how labels make it look like a kindergarten classroom. But you know what? We can find everything. And she said something about it being a subconscious reminder to your brain of where things go. Because it's funny, because while you're in the middle of organizing, you know where you're putting things, you know where you think they go. You think you're going to remember, but you never do. And then you walk away for like a week, and then you go back and you go, thank the Lord I put a label on this, because I would have never remembered. And it's just very helpful for me and my husband, because he's always asking me, where's this or where's that? And it's just, so I have to almost get like really ridiculous on over labeling, just because when life gets going, you just forget. The thing I love about Clutterbug and her YouTube channel is she has like different organizing styles that are realistic. And nowadays I feel like so many of the organizing styles that are out there just would not even be realistic for my lifestyle. So the different styles are butterfly, bee, ladybug, and cricket. And you take this quiz and find out what your style is. And I think mine was a butterfly, because it's just like you just want to stuff it somewhere where it's out of sight, out of mind, and know where to get it at the same time. I like my organizing process to take time, so I really do it right. So if I needed to take action on something, I would just put a note on where I left off so I would remember, like add more small, delicate Christmas decor. Is anybody else putting their Christmas decorations away still, by the way, or is it just me? I don't want there to be empty space in a box, so it all needs to be filled up completely, but light at the same time. I'm getting somewhere here with these labels. Now I at least kind of know what's going on. So after our barn clean out, we had a bunch of these dirty Rubbermaid tubs that we've collected over the years, and Gary usually steals mine, so he gets them all dirty, and that's how they end up looking once they're at the barn for a while. And so anyway, I wanted to make sure I had lids for all of them. This one's extra dirty. Yeah, that was in the barn, and it was open without a lid, and that's what happens when it doesn't have a lid. So I'm going to try to clean the ones that look salvageable, which most of them look salvageable. I don't know, Gary brought this home one day. It's so funny. And I'm just gonna fill all these. I've got a little bit of soap in each one, a little bit of dish soap, and I'm just gonna fill them all with water and let them soak. So that's what I've got going on today. in the oven. I'm doing Mandy in the Making ribs. And I'll share the recipe down below. Those stay in there for about 3.5 to 4 hours at 275. You wouldn't believe it, but this was just about half of the totes that I found down at the barn. We have collected so many totes over the years, and they were all just as bad. So I felt like I was doing dishes for like 3 hours with the hose. This is where I'm at in the shed right now. I've got all that cleared off. That was all memories. I put that on a shelf inside the music room. And then this is all paint, and what I think I'm gonna do is move all this up there and maybe organize it better where you can see the paint stuff easily. And then I've got Christmas indoor, and I wanna find a Rubbermaid that fits those scarecrows because they're so big. And we have light bulbs here. So I basically just put everything in like areas, fluids, because we end up repurchasing things in here. And I want to make a shelf above the shed doors, like a shallow shelf to store these products, which I've already started my own little, I used that ledge because it was there, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. You can see all your your chemicals and everything. And then so I moved that shelf that used to be there and put that in the music room. This is all of our shovels, rakes, everything we use for outside. Fishing rods, I think Gary needs another one of these containers because he's got a whole nother set of fishing rods. I'm gonna put all the landscape stuff in a bin, like a outdoor chest type thing. And then I don't know what a lot of the stuff, I know what these things are, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know about that Gary has that I need to go through. And this whole tool shelf needs to be organized. It's just a mess. But I do have a handle on this whole section here. So I'm feeling much, much better about the progress of this. So I think I'm just gonna move all the paint up here. Paint stuff up here. And my goal is to use every little tiny space of ceiling. I don't want to waste any space. I've got to get some kind of a shelf I can consolidate this and bring it all over here. If I just get like a little shelf to stack the little tiny dainty stuff on, and maybe put that in a Rubbermaid. And I've still got some paints at the barn I need to grab. And then this whole thing is a calamity of just disaster. That all needs to be organized. Everything needs to be put into little containers. I want to use every little inch of this shed, and I just haven't. Since we've gotten it, I just haven't used it properly. So that's my goal anyway. And we have so much landscaping stuff. So we have a ton of landscaping stuff that's just a mess, and we usually just pile it all here, and then there's grass seed flowing all over the place. And so I'm gonna consolidate that into this and just put it all in one spot so you know where to look for all the landscape and yard stuff. And then pressure washers can maybe be lined next to it there. I think that would be nice. I'm getting ideas. This is getting fun. So finally, by the end of the weekend, the organizing started to get fun, and I love figuring out ways to organize things to work with our lifestyle. And then I love to experiment with them and actually see how they work in real life and then change things, as I go to see, okay, that worked or no, that didn't work. And so it's really just trial and error for me. Overall, I feel very satisfied and much, much better about the attempt I made. And now we will see how some of these organizing systems work for our lifestyle.
But I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing it bad. I've been staring at my phone too long. Feel my eyes getting tired.